Hello, I'm Nadia. I have run comic collage and paper collage workshops across Oregon and in Washington, as well as virtually. And so today I want to talk to you about feeling stuck and how different people experience feeling stuck in different ways, and why feeling stuck is actually a good thing because it's telling you something about what you're doing. And so I want to share when I first started teaching my collage workshops and even comic scene collage workshops. I was definitely stuck. I was dealing with loss of employment. I didn't have like a stable job. I worked as a home care worker for like 2.5 years, and then a parking enforcement officer for like 6 months. I was like all over the place. But I always enjoyed art. I always enjoyed comics, and I always enjoyed storytelling. My problem was I wasn't getting paid for it. And so I didn't know and I didn't understand how to get paid to teach workshops or even a class. I've never taught anybody anything, and I didn't really understand like what it took. Like, how do I create a lesson plan? Like, what do they want from me? Can I teach 10, 15, 20, 30 people? I'm like, a bit shy um, when I talk to people, because if I don't really know what I want to say, then I just kind of just get quiet and I just observe. And so I had a lot of things that I wasn't really sure about. But um, one day I decided to call the libraries in my county because I had looked at the calendar and I saw that there was a comic class, comic workshop. And I thought to myself, ooh, I like making comics. I wonder if I could do that. And I read the description for that class, that workshop, and it was like teaching kids how to put a comic together. And I was like, oh, I can do that. Like I was taught how to create comics and graphic novels from Larissa Brown and Caleb Cleveland, and so like I know these things. I can do that. So I like had gotten the number to like one of the libraries in my county, and I made like a really simple script of what I wanted to say, which was just what's my name, what do I do, and who is it for. And so I called the library and I did exactly that. I said, my name's Nadia. I teach um, comics. I've been taught by so and so, and I authored a comic with Dark Horse Comics. And I'd like to teach a class to like elementary school kids. Like, how do I do that? And then they're just like super kind and explained to me that, oh, you need to reach out to this person at this department, and you'll get connected and you can send an email and it goes on more. And that was it. And so I kept doing that. I actually called all 15 libraries in my county. I took like an afternoon to do this. And I was like, oh, if I can do this once, then I want to do it again. Uh, oh, and I was asked about payment, like, oh, how much do you charge? I was like, hmm, because I'd honestly before I had started teaching, I worked on the Comic Keepers comic, and I got paid for that. And I was like, okay, what if I like charged $300 or something like that? Or I think it was like 300. Yeah, I think it's like $300. I was like, okay, what if I try that? Let me see if that works. And so I said, how does $300 sound? And she's like, great, sounds good. Let's do it. And so I pitched that to the librarian at that library, and it worked out well. It was a price that made sense, and the time made sense. And I didn't know, like, how long does the workshop go for? How, I don't know. And the librarian had explained, we do 90-minute workshops. That's enough time, and we have everything that you need. We have a table, we have chairs, we have electricity, we have a projector. You just need to bring your laptop and all your supplies. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And I was like, could I bring like presentations that I can kind of explain like what it is, like who I am, what do I do? Because at that point I had really only worked on the Dark Horse comic, and so I didn't have any real teaching experience, but I knew how to like talk to people, and I knew how to like present my ideas. I just didn't understand how to like teach. And so the librarian was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Like that sounds great." And I was like, "Can I bring prompts too?" He was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so from asking questions about what the needs of the patrons were, I was able to create a lesson plan around that. And so like in the beginning, I didn't know how to teach. I didn't have a lesson plan. I didn't know what I was going to teach. I just knew I wanted to make comics. And so asking questions and looking at the website, I explained to the librarian that I checked the website and I saw that there was a class that taught comics also, and I would like to teach something like that as well. I already had proof of concept that my comic class was going to work because I already saw on the calendar that I had something just like that. And so when you are feeling stuck and you're like unsure how to present your creative workshop ideas to a library or an art gallery or organization, it really helps to just look at what already has been approved and accepted and what works, because it takes a lot of stress off of you to try to come up with something new. You don't have to do that. It also shows that you fit into that space and that you understand what the audience wants, what the patrons want. And I think a lot of the times as creatives, we try to think we have to like prove something. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to prove that you belong there. You don't have to prove nothing. No. What you're getting paid for is to solve a problem and offer transformation and value. And so if you can do that, you get paid. That's it. It doesn't matter what you look like or what your faith is or like any none of that stuff matters. Like if you can solve a problem, you can do it well, you get paid for it. That's it. And so what I know from being stuck on that day, that was like 2 years ago, I want to say. What I learned from that is I don't have to feel like discouraged because I didn't get all yeses. Out of the 16 libraries, there was like five that said yes, and I was able to like secure contracts and talk about the programming that I wanted to create for them. But I didn't feel discouraged about it. I was actually like, ooh, okay, like I wonder who's gonna say yes, like when you feel stuck, it's like you kind of get into like that survival mode. You're like, hey, like I want to, like I really need this money. Like I really want to get this thing going. Like I have bills to pay. Like I understand it. Like I have a phone bill to pay, or I need like to get groceries or whatever. Like I get it. But I think give yourself an opportunity to like try. Like you don't want to get to a point where you don't have any other option. I don't personally think that's a very responsible thing for yourself because like your mental health and just you get into that like scarcity survival mode and it's not fun. It's kind of hard to teach a workshop when you're thinking about, oh, I didn't make enough from this workshop, so now I gotta go figure out how to make more. I think it's important to realize when you're stuck in creatively, just in whatever kind of situation, like take inventory and decide like what's like the one thing that you can improve to get better. What's an action that you can take? Because I also know how it feels to like hope that things get better or wish that things get better or like hope that someone's gonna like notice that you're struggling and do something about it. That generally does not happen. Maybe if you have family members, sure, or friends that care about you, sure. but generally, like, and, this may sound harsh, but like nobody cares, like, right? Like you have to decide that you're going to take one action that you can do and like follow through with it and then like see what happens. And like I had said, like I called 15 libraries and only five of them said yes. Like I could have stopped after the first rejection or the second or the third or the fourth, but I didn't because I was like, I want to improve my professional skills. I want to teach workshops about comics and storytelling, but I also want to just like give myself an opportunity to learn something. And I think that having that kind of perspective when it comes to trying something new is helpful because like when you learn or you're a kid and you learn to walk, right? Like you fall and you stumble and you get up. You can apply that kind of thing to learning a new skill or trying a new job or teaching a workshop. And you wouldn't get angry at yourself for falling. You would just be like, okay, that like is a part of this learning process and I'm gonna keep going either way. So I just want to like encourage you that if you feel stuck somehow creatively, maybe you feel like you've hit a ceiling and you want to try something new with your creative skills, and you don't really know like what that would look like, and maybe you feel stuck emotionally, maybe you're shy, maybe you've never even considered teaching anybody anything because you just don't know how to do it. I would like to encourage you to join my school community, which is called From Starving to Fed Artist. And in this community, I teach you how to take your creative skills and pitch them to community based organizations. We have a community that accepts all types of creatives. And so, whether you're an artist or a painter or a dancer or a designer, or you're just like a hobbyist, you're welcome to join this community and see if it's a place that you feel like you can take those skills and get paid to start teaching what you know. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me in this video. If you have any questions about the community, and if you'd like to join for a free trial, the link is down below in the description. And so I'd love to see you there. And let me know in the comments, where you joining me from? What do you do as a creative? And what's one thing that you felt was really helpful in this video? I'd really, really like to know. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.